Today, we look at one of boxing's unlikely champions. How good was the Pottawatomie Giant, Jess Willard? Jess Myron Willard was born December 29, 1881, in Pottawatomie County, Kansas. Willard stood 6 feet 6.5 and had an 83-inch reach. He had an aggregate weight of 233 pounds for his career. Willard's career spanned from 1911 to 1923. He had 22 wins, 5 losses, and 2 draws. 20 of his wins were by knockout. His win percentage was 79, and his knockout percentage was 71. Willard was a late bloomer in boxing as he turned pro at 27. While he wasn't a skilled fighter, Willard made up for such deficiencies with his size. Willard could land his right hand with power and could take a great deal of punishment. Willard's first significant fight took place on May 20, 1913, when he took on well-traveled contender Gunboat Smith. The two men both exchanged heavy blows, with each finding success. Both men had excellent endurance and fought 20 rounds, with Smith handing Willard a points loss. The first of Willard's 2 most high-profile fights came on April 5, 1915, when he faced world heavyweight champion the Galveston Giant Jack Johnson. Johnson was on the run from the United States due to having a warrant issued for his arrest due to violating the Mann Act. The fight took place in Havana, Cuba. Willard was handpicked to face Johnson given his size, strength, and endurance, which would play a factor in the fight in an outdoor stadium with the temperature rising above 100 degrees. Johnson started the fight on the offensive as he looked to try and end things early on with the larger Willard. Willard would be able to take the best of what Johnson had to offer, and the champion started to slow down as the rounds went on in what was contracted as a 45-round fight. Willard continued to use his long jab to set the tone of the fight in the later rounds. In the 25th round, Willard landed a huge straight right, snapping Johnson's head and sending him to the canvas. Johnson was unable to answer the count and Willard became world heavyweight champion. The film of the fight wasn't released until years later, and a picture of Johnson with his forearms over his eyes was circulated. Johnson used this as a means for claiming he was hiding his face from the shade and threw the fight on purpose. On March 5, 1916, Willard would make the first defense of his title, taking on heavyweight contender Frank Moran. Willard broke his hand during the fight but managed to pull out a decision over Moran in the 10-round contest. This set the stage for a battle with the Manasseh Mauler Jack Dempsey in one of history's most famous boxing matches. The fight went down in Toledo, Ohio. Dempsey's manager stated having placed a $10,000 on Dempsey to knock Willard out in first round. Dempsey started fast and, midway through the first round, dropped Willard with a crushing combination with a left hook, sending him to the canvas. Dempsey commenced handing Willard a vicious beating that sent him down 7 times in the first round. The bell saved Willard, though he was in no condition to finish the fight. Willard absorbed Dempsey's damage through rounds 2 and 3 to his credit. Willard was unable to answer the bell in the 4th round, making Dempsey the new heavyweight champion of the world. Willard was left in a bloody mess, with a tooth being knocked out amongst lacerations to his face. Willard wouldn't fight again until 1923. After knocking out Floyd Johnson in May of that year, Willard would face Argentinian heavyweight title challenger Luis Angel Firpo in Willard's final career fight. Firpo would spoil any chance of going out on top as Firpo largely dominated the contest before knocking Willard out in the 8th round. As quick as Willard rose, it all came crashing down just as fast. Willard was able to overachieve and win boxing's greatest crown during his career, but has forever been linked to Jack Dempsey's, and arguably boxing's most famous knockout. Willard faced 2 Hall of Famers. His most notable fights were against Jack Johnson, Frank Moran, and Jack Dempsey. Jess Willard died on December 15, 1968, at 86. While Willard will never be regarded amongst the greatest of the elite heavyweights boxing has seen, he reached the pinnacle of heavyweight success, albeit for a short stint, Willard was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 2003.